I'm Deborah Boschert. We are at Sacred Threads 2022, and I am delighted to have an opportunity to talk about my art quilt collage, Cuts and Bruises. It's actually part of a series of quilts where I've explored this composition of rectangles and ladders. And for me, the ladder usually symbolizes the idea of getting from one place to another. I made this particular piece in the summer of 2020 when I was actually undergoing treatment for breast cancer. And I was also experiencing a lot of feelings and struggle and strife and trauma related to events happening in our world. Of course, COVID, but also the many protests and raising of awareness about systemic racism. So all of those experiences and ideas and struggles were going on in my brain, and I didn't anticipate putting them into a quilt, but I had this background fabric, which is a white on white print, and I was getting ready to make a new piece, and I wanted to tone down that bright white fabric. So I spread it out on a tarp on my painting table, and I just began washing it with sort of a mustardy brown color to just kind of take back that bright white color. And some dried purple and blue paint that was on the tarp under the fabric leached up onto the fabric, creating these splotches that you can see on the quilt. It was unexpected, I was frustrated, but I pinned that fabric up onto my design wall and just waited and looked at those splotches, and I began to think that they sort of looked like bruises. And in fact, they sort of looked like the bruises that I was seeing in the mirror after my surgery. And that sort of had some beauty to it. And I decided to embrace those bruises and to embrace the idea about making a piece of work related to that struggle in the treatment for my cancer, but also the struggle that I was seeing and thinking about around me. That sort of personal pain, but also the community pain, and hopefully the personal healing and also the community healing. So all of that went into this composition. There are a lot of other visual symbols and marks that might suggest things that relate to grief and struggle and trauma. The title itself, Cuts and Bruises, relates to all of those ideas. So there's these X's, there's openings, there's marks, there's raw edges, all of that related to those experiences that I was going through in summer of 2020. So I'm delighted to say that I'm cancer-free. My doctors caught that cancer early, and I'm hoping that there's always more healing to be done, both personally and in our communities and in our world. And I'm eager to make more art quilt collages related to those ideas and experiences.